Okay, welcome to the interview section of today's podcast. I have already introduced my wonderful guest today, but I will introduce her again. It's Leoni Jane Kennedy. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good, thanks, Dan. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you for coming onto the podcast as always with all my guests. Really do always appreciate it. The first question I like to ask every guest though before I move on, and sometimes it's the hardest question, sometimes it's not the hardest question. It depends on how the artist views their music, I guess. But is there a way you can best describe the genre of your music, just for those who haven't necessarily heard it coming into this episode?
I think the best way of sort of giving the full picture is to say my influences are people
Hmm.
like Status Quo and Rush, yes, Genesis, but also there's a lass called Madison Cunningham who's fantastic, and she's played a major role in the direction that I've gone in towards my later years. The style primarily is rock, and there's hints of progressive rock and blues and country in certain areas of it. Like I'm hinting on Blue Oyster Cult in some tracks, and then in other tracks it's completely Celine Dion. So I guess it's a mixture of a load of different things, but my roots are in rock and progressive rock and a history of blues growing up in pubs playing with old blokes.
Well, I should mention actually the way that I first saw you live was at the Ealing Blues Festival, and I turned up. Obviously, my friends that I was with had seen you before and given great reviews, so I was very much looking forward to it. To the point when I actually requested we left 15 minutes early on the day that you were playing, so we could make sure we got there with enough time for your set. Yeah, no, it was absolutely fantastic watching you. We just had to ask you to come onto the podcast. I'll just give a little shout out to my chief networking officer for helping me with that, because I'm always a bit shy in person when it comes to inviting people on. But yeah, I just had to ask you on, and as you say, influences from the blues, playing at a blues festival as well. I like to go chronologically through an artist's life. We mentioned some of your influences there, obviously, but I want to go back to when you were, first growing up in the household, childhood, whenever. What was the first sort of musical sounds you were hearing just growing up? What was being played around you? Because usually it's not your own choice at that point. So what were you just hearing at first?
Kind of anything and everything. My granddad used to listen to a lot of Al Martino and old school people like that, but my mum was very varied. She did listen to a lot of country stuff. We've got a load of vinyl records at home, Bruce Springsteen, and she liked Lynyrd Skynyrd and bands like that. But none of that really. I don't have a lot of memories of that, to be honest with you. I have memories of getting a Status Quo CD and then finding their live work and learning it word for word, quite literally, not just the lyrics, but what they would say.
Yeah.
I did that a lot with films as well. It used to be Men in Black. Because I had an obsession with Tommy Lee Jones at the time for whatever reason. And I don't know, I just sort of memorized the words because it was something that I really enjoyed and wanted to be able to do that again, I guess, with my own mouth. I don't know, to be honest with you. I think it was things like that and playing along with the cast credits that would run up after films and figuring out the music that comes along with that and doing it as if I was the whole band but with one guitar.
Yeah. Well, that kind of brings me on to when you started to not only find your own music taste, but I assume around that time is when you start becoming a musician, as most people do. How did that happen?
I think my mum had an old Fender guitar and she taught me dueling banjos on it when I was very young, just because it's a riff that sort of caught my attention because it was fast and interesting and it came out of this big old wooden box that I'd never seen before. So she sort of taught me it when I was quite young, and it was just the main riff and it wasn't anything special, but for a 4 or 5-year-old it was all right,
Yeah.
So I just sort of carried on from that. I just liked the way that it felt, and yeah, I think that was one of the main reasons that I got into it, was my mum teaching me to play a little bit, and I was just always invested in watching live videos of Status Quo as well. That was my upbringing. And then eventually when I got a bit older, my mum was taking me to the pub like locally, and they had a jam night on every Thursday that she would take me to, and I'd play the likes of Thin Lizzy and the Beatles and Status Quo as well, and all sorts of old blues rock. And it was amazing. Like, that was my upbringing, was with the lads. They were called Bark, and it was Pete Lawrenson, Scott Oram, Ken Truce Birch, and little Colin Beeson. So it was from ages of maybe 11 till 16, I did that with those guys. And it was a fantastic time. And little Pete, he was the guitarist that taught me basically how I write my songs today, is majorly influenced by Pete, more so than any of the artists that I ever listened to outside that were already famous. Because he went through glass, he had an accident with his hand, and the way that he had to adapt to that was so interesting, and meant that he came out with these wicked chords, but you just would have no idea how to recreate them. So I figured it out. He used to reinvent solos for the likes of Whiskey in the Jar, and I'd learn them, or White Shade of Pale, things like that. And he'd teach me them, and by the time it came around to the following week, I'd be up on his Gretsch, maroon hollow body Gretsch, beautiful thing. And he'd be pressing the pedals for me because I didn't know how to do it at the time. And I'd just be shredding the solo that he taught me. But more so when I got a bit older, it was the songwriting side of things that really took over for me. I was falling in love with trying to figure out the sounds that I already had in my head and making it come alive on the frets. And yeah, I think it all started from that one Julian Banjos riff.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing though to see that you obviously, seems to be that you're fully self-taught / with the help of people around you when you started playing in pubs and things and with people there. Obviously your music is quite intricate, I would say. That's where I pick up on it in terms of song structure and melody, and it's all very intricate and very well sort of orchestrated all together, isn't it, in a way? As in, it's like, go on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the time I'm just not interested in staying in one place. And that's where it comes from. If I hear something repeating itself too much, which some people would find ironic that I listen to Status Quo, but they really, underlying, they are actually quite varied in the way that they do stuff, which would surprise a lot of people. But you listen closely and you'll hear it.
I 100% agree with that.
And Francis is a fantastic songwriter as well. Like, I'm reading the Excess All Areas book that they wrote. It was between him and Rick, and I'm learning so much about their lives as well, but the way that they wrote and how things came about, and them actually realizing after the fact what the songs mean and things like that. And I've just done a master's myself in songwriting, which was a total new sort of view of the whole world that I got through this. And one of the things I realized through the process was that afterwards the songs tell you what you don't know yet, which is incredible. And I guess that's what I'm trying to do when I'm writing songs as well, is if the music takes me somewhere, I have to allow it. To sort of deny that would be ignorant to my own feelings, I think, as someone who doesn't particularly, I don't know, I write songs because I don't know how I feel about something yet, and then when it reveals to me what it is, then I sort of either have the choice to go into that or ignore it.
Yeah, no, I totally can see like how that really helps you to not only write, but to write something that's different and unique as well, if that kind of makes sense. Because as you say, the song's telling you rather than you telling the song, which I think is what a lot of songwriters do struggle to allow to happen, because I think you have to be a bit vulnerable and open to let a song do that to you, I guess. I want to ask, actually, I'll go back to talking about how you got into the music industry more and things like that in a bit, but I actually want to ask, are there any sort of overarching themes that you tend to find that you write about, especially with those sort of prog rock influences and things? Because I know a lot of progressive rock music is written about all manner of things, not just heartache and falling in love and things like that. You can literally be singing about wizards sometimes and stuff like that. Is there anything in particular that you write about that is something that you always come back to?
Well, the thing that I always try and explain to people is that although my influences are prog, I don't class myself necessarily as a prog artist. I can come under that because of the way that I play guitar. And I'm fully accepting of that. If I'm a prog artist, then hell yeah, I've made it. Like, I'm happy with that. If there was any genre that I wanted to be included in, it would be prog. But
yeah,
the lyrics are more based around how the music makes me feel, I think. The music always tends to come first, because first and foremost, I'm a guitarist.
yeah,
I grew up learning guitar and wanting to be a guitarist. The songwriting then came about, and that's how the sort of connection was made of, if I write something and it stirs up something in my head and I'm going, right, how is this making me feel, and what am I thinking of right now as I'm playing this chord? If I'm sad, or if it's like a deep longing for something, there's a reason for that sonically as well. There is a scientific reason behind those notes that is telling you you're going to feel sad now.
Yeah.
It's like some of the most famous songs that are like played at funerals and things like that. As dark as it is, it's essentially proven to sort of be relevant to that feeling. And I guess that's what I've got in me automatically for some reason, like whether it's through experience or practice and writing and listening to as many things as I do, varied in genre or not. I think that that's what is happening when I'm writing a song. I'm essentially creating a palette and then going, right, what am I going to do with it? How am I going to tell people how this makes me feel?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I kind of, I feel like the next thing to ask would be, because I assume, obviously, you know, going chronologically again, taking a slight detour there, but back in through songwriting, I guess, when you started songwriting, is that when you started sort of playing live more and playing your own music live?
Yeah, 100%. I think I played a lot of venues in Blackpool by the time I was probably about 13, 14.
Yeah.
Just kept playing and doing the rounds. Charity events, jam nights, open mic nights, anything I could get my hands on, really. My mum was my chauffeur and manager at the time, being so young and having to be in these places. But sadly, the pub that I have referenced is no longer there. It's been knocked down, but there are still many venues that I played in Blackpool that are still up and running. And it kind of goes to show, like, it doesn't really matter where you come from or what tools you have to do stuff with.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you make of it, and that's exactly what I did. I went from the pub round the corner to playing Shepherd's Bush Empire with supporting the Manic Street Preachers. It's a joke, really. It feels like an honest joke in the best of ways. Like, I'm obviously so appreciative of where I am currently, but it started off in that one pub and then around Blackpool and stuff, and then eventually I applied for a competition called Rock the House, where that's your local MP. For us, it was I think it was the Blackpool and the Fylde Council, or that sort of general area, had to pick someone from the area as the under-19 singer-songwriter nominee. And that's who I was. And I won the competition when I got to London and played at the Bedford in Balham. After winning that show and playing in front of like industry executives, we performed, myself and Hex, the band we called it at the time, who were the band who won the band version of this. We performed at the Houses of Parliament, in the speakers' rooms, and then the balcony overlooking the River Thames, which was a surreal experience for a 14-year-old. I think I was actually 13 at the time, because it was 2014, and it was early, because I'm halfway through the year, my birthday. So I think I was actually 13 when I got sponsored by Yamaha, and given an amp from Orange, which was, again, sort of one of those things you don't really think it's happening until the amps arrived at your house. But people saw in me what I didn't really see in myself, and I still, to an extent, don't. I don't think I ever will. But yeah, I think it was. What was the question?
Oh no, it was about how you started songwriting and playing your own songs live, which you've kind of covered there a lot, because obviously then that leads on to your own gigs, etc. And you know, I mean, obviously it's you mentioned obviously supporting the Manic Street Preachers at Shepherd's Bush Empire. It's the fruits of the labour, isn't it? It wouldn't, without the hard work that you do, you wouldn't then get put forward to do, you know,
Mm.
to be in Rock the House and then going forward from there, would you? It's all the fruits of your labor. And yeah, that's why it's so important to just, I think it's just important for artists to be out there and to be gigging. You know, there's only so much success. You know, you can have success as a bedroom artist, but if you can get out and gig, it can really go to the next level, can't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been at both ends of it. You know, I've grown up with barely any social media. Anything that I did do was pretty much just uploading a YouTube video, and it would be of me playing live.
Yeah.
But since moving away to London and being in uni from 18 onwards, I've just been completely engulfed in social media and what the world does and the way that I should act or the way that I could be. And the suggestive nature of social media, I think, is something that is very damaging for young people.
Yeah.
Especially in the creative industry, because there are so many people who can do things better, faster, more efficient, more unique, whatever you want to call it. But that's in your eyes. They're going to look at someone else and think the same thing. And that's what people really don't understand, or it's less accessible to understand that when it's thrown at you so fast and so consistent. You think, how am I going to keep up with this? It's never going to work.
Yeah. But everyone's kind of in the same boat with that, aren't they? Because as you say, it's in their eyes, it's in your eyes, isn't it? It's like everyone's thinking the same thing at the same time, and kind of we're all having that same sort of existential crisis about it. Really, I do with my podcast. You know, it's the same thing. There's always someone else who's doing something better than you, but actually, what they don't realize is actually they might be saying the same about you because you might look a little bit more authentic, for example, or you might look a bit more, you know, a bit more rough around the edges. You might have a different style that they like, or whatever. You might present differently and whatever. But yeah, it is just that. It is just a bit of an existential crisis, I guess. We should actually start talking about the music, because at the moment we've spoken about your rise up to the music, and now we're going to talk about the music that's on record, I think. So, obviously we got the new single, which is Slow, which is out today, obviously out last Thursday for those listening. I've been listening to it a lot today in preparation for this. I have to say, congratulations. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. No, not a problem. And we will talk about that in a little bit. But I want to touch on the album that you've got out right now, which is New World Woman. Now, this is a covers album, isn't it, of one artist, I believe. Can you tell us more about that record and how it came to be?
Yeah, so when I was 14, again, I think, and 15, I performed at Rush Yukon, which is a convention held in celebration of the band Rush, which are a Canadian progressive rock band, for those who don't know, from the 70s and 80s. They've played a massive role in my career and my influence. So I played the convention doing some covers of their work and a few original things, and a cover that myself and Alex Dunn, William Winsborough, Zahid Hassan, and Daryl Truce Birch did in 2015 got something stupid like 20,000 hits on Planet Rock. The video did on their website because it was a 15 and a 14-year-old lad at the time covering this 12 to 15 minute long progressive rock song and fucking nailing it, like with no rehearsals. Literally no rehearsals. We didn't even have a sound check, and I was on acoustic, Alex was on electric, William on bass. Zed, the drummer, Zahid Hassan, doesn't own a drum kit. He rehearses on his steering wheel in his car whilst he's driving. DVLA, don't pick him up for that. I didn't give you his full name. That's actually not his real name, so don't go looking. And Daryl is a fantastic keys player as well, who plays with 10, and they just all absolutely nailed it. And my stage dad, Owen Depar, at the time, he was still teaching me at school. So he was my high school art teacher and music teacher. And that's how we met. And the reason that I knew about Rush Yukon is because he was in a Rush tribute band called Counterparts at the time with the tech teacher and IT support guy, Phil Brown, who was on guitar. So Counterparts were the reason that I was involved in the first place. And they actually played for my 15th birthday party, where most 15-year-olds would go get their nails done. I was in the local pub with the band made up of my teachers playing Rush songs, which is exactly how I wanted it to be.
And Sounds
The
amazing, to be honest. It sounds really good, that.
it was
Yeah.
amazing. It was really good. And when I left school, I went to college in Blackpool and then moved to university in Guildford. But I met up with Owen again when he had another counterparts gig. I was probably 19 at the time, and went to see them play, sort of caught up again. He's always been a massive part of my life. We always stayed in touch, but I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. And then he began working with Moving Pictures with Steve Brown. And I went to go and see them before. I think we had the same gig together, actually. It was RushCon in Crewe or Chester. I think it was RushCon in Chester this time. And Moving Pictures played, and I played my first ever live set of acoustic Rush songs. And I did this cover of Kid Gloves from Grace Under Pressure. And I did the solo that Alex does, but acoustic with no backing.
Yeah.
Steve from Moving Pictures, the guitarist, saw me play that and decided he wanted that on the Next Songs for Neil tribute album, which is a album in memory and in tribute to Neil Peart, the drummer of Rush, who passed away in 2020. I also did my dissertation on Neil Peart, whose lyrics were completely influential to me. So to think of being on a record that's in tribute to him, of course I said yes. And I remember it vividly because my computer broke at the time and I couldn't record it, which is how I met Nick Andrew, who is on all of the records that I'm now releasing. Pretty much 5 years on, because of one issue or another. But anyway, Steve put me on this record after Nick helped me record Kid Gloves. And he said to me, you should maybe do something like that set. You should do an album or something. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And I just did it. I was in my room in Kentish Town. I just started the master's course at ICMP in Kilburn, which I teach there now, which has come full circle, which is great. But I was starting the masters, and I just decided on a whim, like, it's got to be done. I've done these interpretations of these songs. My mum now can listen to Rush, so why not put it on a record for other people to appreciate the songs that they wrote? And that was the whole thing behind it, was if I can make this into something that everyone can listen to that might not necessarily like the sonic identity of Rush, then maybe they can stretch even further, and maybe this is my justice to them. This is my hats off to Rush in helping them get their music out even more. That's all I wanted to do. It was never intended to change the music at all. It was just meant to emphasize how good it already is. And people really understood that. Like when I started the recording process, it took me in total about 2 months to record it, get Steve to produce it, create a Kickstarter, which was to raise the money to produce and put the album on vinyl, CD, and merch alike. All of that was done within 2 months. I don't know how. To this day, I have no idea how we did it. And when I say we, Steve was guiding me along the way. Do this, do this, do this. Do the Kickstarter like this. If you've got these ideas, that would be great. But it was me on the other end doing it all. As well as doing a master's and working. So I genuinely have no idea how I did it. But I think because of the pressure of just getting it done and having Steve doing this in my ear in the best of ways, still does, the fucker. He was absolutely detrimental to that process. And we put a Kickstarter out to raise $5,000. We got about 6.8.
That's fantastic.
Which was completely unexpected. I didn't even, because with a Kickstarter, if you don't get all of the money, you don't get any of the money. If you set a target and you don't reach that target, you don't get any of the money. You can always reach out to the people who have put in offers. But we had people getting the executive producer packs for $1,000. And that was inclusive of the original artwork painted by Lorna Bannister, one of my dear friends who's also doing the artwork for my Originals album. Lorna's fantastic as well. Like she actually welcomed Chris into her house and gave him the painting, and the whole thing was incredible. So yeah, I think it all came about like that. And once it started, it never really stopped, because Moving Pictures asked me to go on tour with them and support them doing the opening acoustic slot, and also do merch for them, which works really well, because I was selling my own and selling theirs and touring and playing my own original stuff, which is how my original stuff really started getting out there. And every year since, I've been on the Songs for Neil tribute album, minus the last one. So it's been a total ride, and we're not done. Me and Owen, my stage dad, are going on tour at the end of the year in October and November. We've got a new version of these reinterpretations. We've got about 2 45-minute sets that we're going to be doing in Hull, Stratford, Aldershot, and possibly Scotland. We're waiting on confirmation for that one, but we've definitely got those other 3 booked in for October and November. And it's going to be the whole of New Old Woman's going to be played, as well as a whole new album that isn't released yet, that will be played as a tester to see which songs work and which will go on the next album of Rush covers.
Nice.
But it's going to be incredible. I've already had a week with John just now, with Owen just now, rehearsing and going through the reinterpretations, and we've got some corkers. I can't wait for people to sort of hear it and what we've done with them. Some collaborations between songs as well, which is super exciting. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing what's going on. And yeah, New Old Woman is available to purchase. I've got links in the description below if you do want to buy a copy. It's also available for streaming as well for those who aren't able to. But yeah, fantastic covers record, I have to say. It's amazing. And obviously you're now moving towards your own original records, which I'm really excited for, because you've been releasing singles gradually in the build up to this. And the latest one is the new single out today, Slow, spelled SLOE for those who are looking for it. And yeah, it's a fantastic, such a good song. It's so good. It's got, for those who haven't heard it yet, not only is it a brilliant rocking track, but it's also got an incredible breakdown section and an incredible change of time signature, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. Or it's some kind of change in that variety. Forgive me if my music theory is not up to scratch like it used to be. But yeah, tell us more about this new single.
Yeah, so Slow was originally written during my time in uni, and I would regularly see people taking their keys off their mates when they had too much to drink, and it sort of concerned me, like it's people my age making this mistake that could cost them their lives and other people's lives. And it wasn't just people my age, it was people old and young. It was people who got into the habit of it or just weren't aware of how much they'd had, and that one little mistake cost someone their life, and it just really got to me. So I wrote the track about it and sort of imagined myself in their position and how it would feel. And it's sort of like I'm using my platform at this point to raise awareness for the fact that it still happens, and the percentage is ridiculously high. And it's actually increased 15% over the past year of people being killed in drunk driving accidents. So it's a joke, really. I don't think it's acceptable nowadays or any days to have a drink and drive. If there's a limit, there's a limit for a reason. And I know Scotland has actually changed their limit because of it. I think it's actually that you can't drink at all. And that should be the case. You shouldn't be able to. There's 0% alcohol now. If you want, you can even get 0% Guinness, which I'm actually quite a fan of.
Well, that's the thing. Go on. That's the thing, that it's the law for the reason, isn't it? They wouldn't put it there if there wasn't a point to it, right?
Yeah. And even just aside that, it's something that you know for a fact, looking at the stats, is a problem and has been a problem since the late 70s, primarily. So, gonna no do that.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Congratulations on Slow, by the way. I have to say it is a wonderful track, and I have been listening to it today, obviously because that's the time I've had to listen to it. And yeah, it is wonderful. Really recommend people go and listen to it as well. I'm sure it's going to do fantastically too with the streaming numbers. By the way, obviously we're only seeing the early stages of it now, but I'm sure it definitely will. Is that song going to definitely be on the new album then when it comes out?
Yeah. I'll just say now, mate, don't worry if we go over. Like, don't worry about the time, okay?
No worries. Carry on.
So, Slow is one of 7 tracks being released from this album, and it's the 4th, I believe, and it's 100% going to be out on the album.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm releasing it a single at a time because
Yeah.
I'm trying to build some momentum and also experiment with the social media side of things, seeing what works to
Yeah.
promote it and what doesn't. So far, I'm realizing that certain things are definitely working, building momentum, and some things maybe not so much, which is it's a learning curve. That's the whole reason I'm doing this, and I'm releasing a music video with all of them to sort of have something there for people to look at and build an idea of myself on. But that whole album is set to be released at the end of the year.
Nice. Looking forward to that. Talking of music videos, actually, I haven't seen the one for Slow yet. I don't know if it's actually out because I haven't seen yet, but I've seen some of the earlier ones as well. Can you tell us more about the whole projects in that? Because I think isn't there one of them that's in a wood or something, isn't it? Is it to do with a bath in a wood or something? Am I correct?
That's Slow.
Oh, that is Slow.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yes. So no, because I remember you mentioning that one on at the Blues Festival, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Can you tell us more about the whole project with the videos?
Yeah, so I just basically set out to create a lot of visuals to go with it because, again, the social media thing nowadays, if you're not visually gripped, I think it's very difficult to get into, even if the music's amazing. So I've always wanted to do really good music videos. I do like the idea of having a good, strong visual branding. And it's helped me develop my artistic identity as well, in a way. Like, I never really had a personality. Like, growing up, I never felt like I had a strong personality, not at least that I wanted. I would look to people who had strong personalities and sort of envy them and want to be like them, but never really knew how to get there. And slowly but surely, this past couple of years, I've found things that I'm interested in and just really delved into it and realized, with my fashion sense or my music or my attitude, the way that I talk or the way that I come across to other people, I've adapted it in a way that I now feel like I'm more connected to who I want and need to be
Yeah.
in this life, which seems completely existential and maybe not necessary to some people, but that's the extent that I've had to go to sort of understand myself, which I'm sure a lot of other people have, and I hope that resonates, because it can be difficult. Sometimes people can't quite get there,
Yeah.
but it is possible. So for the thing with the music videos, I really wanted to just create that content for people to not only watch, but to create an image of me and a storyline of me that they can figure out themselves and choose to see me in whatever way they want, as long as it's represented like I want it to be.
Yeah. No, it's a great project to go under. I've seen, for me, when an artist takes every aspect of what they do and make that the art, whether that be the social media side, videos, whether it be, something even within the promotion, they can add some artistic flourishes in there. When they do that, it always just feels to me more, what's the word? I guess it is authentic and genuine, because that's, you're not using your social media just to promote. You're also using it to give something extra to those who are already there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really important. Is that something that's a conscious thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that a fan base is important and necessary, but also really fucking nice. Like, if you've got
Yeah.
people who are promoting your music because they like you and what you do, you've got to give a little bit of something back. Like, if I think about my relationship to the bands that I love, a lot of it is based on the art that they have and musically amazing, yes, but also how did they make their vinyl? Like, what's the gatefold art? Like, Roger
Yeah.
Dean is a massive influence for me. Like, I love all of the Yes albums. But even Rush Power Windows had a huge influence on me, and I'm looking at it now actually thinking it's just a great piece of artwork. I like
Yeah.
strong, bold images that tell a story without actually saying anything in particular.
Yeah.
Like, you can take
Yeah.
a wild guess, but you're never going to be right. And that's the mystery that I want to create for other people. Like, I want them to see what I do with these videos and then decide for themselves what it could be. Because that's the
Yeah.
sort of fascination with an artist, I think, is that you never quite know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's keeping the mystery alive, I guess, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I want to ask one more thing about the new track actually, because it's probably what fascinated me the most about it. And maybe this is the songwriter in me, because I can't do this when I write a song. So maybe it's the songwriter in me that that is so fascinated by it. But as I mentioned earlier, you know, the song does have sort of, well, in my ears, it has a kind of a breakdown section and also a change in time signature and things like that. How this is basic question. How do you do it? Because I can't.
By listening to a lot of people who do it very well.
Yeah.
The only way that you learn to do something like that yourself is if you're comfortable doing it with other people.
Mm.
And if you listen to a song and you're able to change time signatures with them, and you're able to anticipate where something is going,
Yeah.
because you know their patterns and you listened and essentially studied them with your ears.
Mm.
That's for me what eventually happened. I mean, I can't say that I never experimented with time signatures willingly, but most of the time it's a feel thing because of what I've listened to and what I've heard. Like,
Yeah.
I remember during one song in the Masters, I was listening to a lot of Van Halen, and then all of a sudden I'm shredding.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's something that really comes out in my tone as well. Like,
Mm.
depending on what I'm listening to at the time. That's why I've got to be very careful if I'm in recording mode, that I know what I want it to sound like, because I'll
Yeah.
go away and listen to the artist that I want it to sound like, and then that will influence the way that it sounds like.
Mm.
So I think my advice would literally be listen to the people who you want to sound like,
Yeah.
religiously study that until you feel that it's natural for you to come in with your
Yeah.
songwriting. And then maybe experiment, maybe just try getting the feel of it, playing in a certain time signature over and over, and then changing it
Mm.
to a 7/8 to 4/4 is what slow is.
Yeah.
And it's not hard.
Mm.
I can't play that straight. It's harder to play it straight than it is to play it 7/8 to 4/4.
Mm. Oh, I'll have to take the advice on board. I mean, I probably listen to too much too much new music and go here, there, and everywhere instead of focusing on, you know, just listening to that one Jason Isbell record that came out this year, which I love. And I probably should keep on listening to that so I can start sounding more like him, to be honest. But yeah, no, that's Slow, a great track, by the way. Congratulations on it. And everyone should go and stream that and listen to it, because it is fantastic. And you know, the singles leading up to this as well, I'm looking at them now. You know, I've been listening to Jessie Closer, different kind of woman I love as well. I think that's fantastic track. So yeah, everyone go and check them out, because that's leading up to the new album. I kind of already said this already, but I think obviously the next thing's going to be asking what is next for Leoni Jane Kennedy. Is there anything else other than the album and these live shows that you'd like to say?
Yeah, so the masters that I've just completed ended up being a book. So next year, I'm planning on releasing the book and touring it with the live soundtrack of the songs that came around during the time. It's essentially
Oh,
about
nice.
the loss of my granddad last year had a huge impact on me, and a couple of other family things that happened over the previous, well, my whole fucking life, basically,
Yeah.
but mainly based around the events of this past couple of years, in detail, has been written in a book. It's quite dramatic, and it's sort of revealing truths of trauma through
Yeah.
songwriting. The songs that I wrote during the times of these traumatic experiences are the things that will be played live, and I want to do it in libraries. So I'll do book
Yeah.
tour libraries after the book's released, and then see what happens. But I think we'll probably go into grief workshops eventually with creatives, because it can hit quite hard when you are an empathetic person or a creative person, that you can sort of see and read other people. And
Yeah.
if you feel like you're the kind of person that's constantly reading other people and no one reads you, this is the sort of thing that you need to come to.
Yeah, no, and that's something that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to those in the arts, is actually because, you know, they are able to channel those emotions better than anyone else. It's why people in the arts can write and create and do the way they do. So obviously it's going to have a different kind of impact, in whether it's as equal to, greater than, less than, I'm not going to say, but it has a different kind of impact, I think, in for many people. So those kind of things are really important, and it's a very noble thing to be part of. And obviously with the experience and the book will be there to help people as well. So those kind of things will always always be welcomed in the creative space. Leoni, I want to ask you to let people know where they can find your music, but also find yourself online as well, so they can check out everything that we've been speaking about today.
Yep, so my name is Leoni Jane Kennedy. That's LeoniJaneKennedy. I don't know why I decided to spell the whole thing out, but if you put a .com at the end of that, then you'll get my website and everything on there.
Super. Yeah, I'll put links in the description below for people as well. So if you don't want to go searching and just want to scroll down, it's all there for you too. Leoni, I want to say a huge thank you for coming on to the podcast. We'll quickly wrap up afterwards. But a huge thank you. It's been great to hear all about the new single and hearing about how the Rush album came to be was amazing, because I love that record. So so that was really great as well. But thank you so much for coming on to Music Fishbowl.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a total pleasure. Hope to do it again sometime.
No worries. Me too.